So hi, everybody.
Hello, hello.
Didn't have to wait too long, huh? Okay, I see somebody new. Melissa, how are you?
Hello. Hi, Melissa.
Are you,
Hi.
are
I'm
you,
not sure what I'm doing here, but I'm just here to find out what you're doing and see if I'd like to be a part of this particular group. I'm new, so I'm not really sure how to be new. So this is how I'm
That's
doing it.
Yeah.
So-
That's the perfect way.
fine, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
What is your local league?
What is my local league?
Yeah, do you know?
I guess it would be Larimer County.
Oh, are you? Okay, okay,
Yeah. I'm in Fort Collins. Yeah.
okay.
And what
That's
is,
where a lot of us are.
okay.
But except for Kay is in.
I'm the outlier.
Where are
At
you
least
from?
tonight or today.
I'm from Denver and the Cheeseman unit. So
And are you here or are you in Florida?
I'm in Florida, of course. So that's what I like about being able to do this online. It's just so nice
Mhm.
because I can do it anywhere.
I
Okay, well,
admire everyone's technical prowess and always putting these meetings together and breaking out rooms. And it's not something I think I would ever be able to do, but never say never, but
Right. It just
You
takes
might
a-
surprise yourself because I'm probably the least techie person and I run two other groups and I'm like, I don't know how I do it, but I do it. So it must be fairly easy. So don't say never.
okay.
okay, so let's go around and introduce ourselves since Melissa is new. I'm Linda Hutchinson. I live in Loveland. And then Diana.
Diana Greer, and I live in Loveland, and I have a newspaper background.
And Kay.
Kay Shaw, and I live in Denver, and I'm involved with the Cheeseman unit, and I spend part of the year in Florida. But I'm really interested in this topic, and I came just like you did, Melissa, really because we're, as I said, not part of necessarily everyday things that are going on with a specific group. And I just thought the topic sounded so interesting, and I found it to be very rewarding. And this is a very good group of people to work with. They are very conscientious.
Thanks.
See.
I guess
Thank
I'll
you.
go.
Thank you, Kate. Dixie, you said, right?
Yeah.
Kate or Linda? Yeah, so you're up to me. Anyway, thank you, Kay. Yeah, I think it's a great group of people also. So it's a really nice group to work with. I'm Dixie Schmatz. I'm also from Loveland, a member of the Larimer County League, of course. And I've kind of been inactive with League for many years, but when I saw this topic came up, I jumped back on. So here I am.
I didn't realize that. That's cool, Dixie.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and honestly, I don't know how long I'm going to be able to stay now that we're moving on. I just have so many things going on, but everybody does, so it's all a matter of choice.
Sonia.
I'm Sonia Ketting and with Larimer League, and I live in Fort Collins, and I've been the editor for our Observer Corps.
And Kathy.
I am Kathy Wilson, and I live in Loveland. I got interested in this topic several years ago, and I taught teachers literacy, how to teach reading and writing and listening and speaking. And one of the things that we did back, even starting way back when, is to try to infuse media literacy in the instruction that they did in middle and high school. And in addition to working with Larimer, I'm the co-director of Action, one of the co-directors of Action and Advocacy for the State League. So, and I'm on the state board. So that keeps me busy.
Explain what action advocacy is, because I don't know.
We, instead of being in charge of education or voter services, we're the ones that try to get you to respond to your legislators. We are the Legislative Action Committee for the state is the group that's authorized to give testimony during the legislative session in the name of the league. What else? We want you to respond to action alerts. We want you to call or write your state legislators. We work at the state level, okay? And not at the local level, because the local leagues take care of that. So our focus is the state level, and the US League focuses on legislation at the federal level. Did that help?
Thank you. That never do.
Okay, so Melissa, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you all for having me and introducing yourselves. I'm Melissa Powell. I moved to Fort Collins. That's where I live now. I moved here from Boston a little over a year ago. And in Boston, I worked for the Suffolk County, did some work for the Suffolk County Democratic Party, not a lot. I'm a clinical social worker by trade, and I still work on Zoom. So now that I'm here, I'd really like to get into some advocacy work and get out of the one-on-one Zoom mode and sort of try to get involved in making some larger systemic change. As everyone I work with on my little Zoom thing is all a part of what's happening in the world right now. So I kind of feel like I need to get back in there. So thanks for having me.
Sure. If you would like to be added to our email list, please put your chat in the with your email in the chat, and
Okay.
I'll be sure to add you.
Thank
So
you.
we have to Sonia needs to leave early, so we're going to start with her first. Sonia, Cocoa update.
So I'm going to talk with Melissa Davis tomorrow. She's our funder, and in the role that I'll talk to her tomorrow is as my consultant on the project. And my aim is to really ramp down well, we have transitioned the pilot, so where we're just doing our observation into the future, but it's been trickling on, and I feel a need to reclaim my time and also to make sure that state can have that website and do with it as they will. I think I'm going to stop posting our Larimer reports on that website and instead just have them be posting to Substack. Substack is proving to be a pretty neat thing for us. People are familiar with it. And the citizen observers can have multiple chapters under there. So if state wants to, as they bring leagues on who might have reports, they can, there can be like subtitles for various leagues. And so we've got somewhere 30-ish people subscribe to the Substack, and we're getting some interest. It's cool to see what reports are getting more hits. I think it's when someone shares a report to their friends who are interested in a certain thing, because some of the reports shoot up. So I'm still watching that. I'm also still trying to make contact with area news outlets, editors. And I'll have to say that while that was a big part of the hope of the funder, was to connect with news outlets so that we would be supporting existing journalism across the state. That part is not, it's a much longer journey. I did have a very good meeting last week with the editor he's in Village Media, and they manage the Reporter Herald and I think a paper in Johnstown, and they cover Berthoud. There's like 4 newspapers under his control, and I'd been trying to reach him for a long time, and we'd been on a program together in Longmont Public Access TV, but editors are hard to get a hold of, and when I do, they're pretty busy. And so I didn't have much luck with a Coloradoan. As you guys may know, Eric Larson, their editor, has gone, and they're having an interim editor and will be hiring someone else, and not a good time for them to consider like new projects and partnerships or whatnot. But so then I got a hold of John from Papers Further South, and we met in Berthoud last week, and he seemed interested. I think he understands the project, and some of his reporters could use our support. And I offered that we could direct the very few observers that we have to cover Berthoud and Thompson School District and Johnstown. These are things that his team would be interested in. And I was saying, well, if somebody will read them, if this matters to you, and I will hear back from you, we will do that. We will direct our resources there. And he seemed like he wanted that. And then I came home and I emailed him a list of meetings that we had covered from those places before. We haven't done it consistently, but somebody had touched on those meetings. I gave him those. I called him today, excited to see if he, oh, gee, I see your format. And he was like, oh, I haven't had a chance to look on that. So this seems to be a consistent thing. Is like, oh, yeah, let me get back to you. And it's just a slow boat. There might be some connection there. What I'm seeing the value in is that the governments themselves can look at the reports. Like if you're a county commissioner, and I think a couple of them do this, you can go on and see how we have, conveyed to the world how your meeting went. And if you're an activist, you can look there to see what they're discussing. If you're maybe new to the community and just want to know what some of the government groups are doing, you can. There's a lot of reasons why Observer Corps is good, whether or not news outlets, want to partner up with us. Nobody really realized that the news outlets are so slim staffed that nobody wants to look at this as like a whole new project for them. It's supposed to just be a resource, and conveying that message and what that ends up like is going to take longer. And I don't want the Larimer Observer Corps to go dark, because we've done a lot of work to get as far as we have. So I'm trying to make a plan to set aside some what budget we have that we could pay those who work for pay to continue doing what they do. And then I'm going to have to rely on some volunteers, which I don't have a lot of volunteers right now. But end of story is I'm trying to transition this to ramp down so that state knows that it's theirs. I have not heard where they are with the funding. I know grants were applied for. I don't really know the detail of it. Haven't been communicated with on that. But it's been over a year, and I need to reclaim my time, and I'll carry this as I can. And I do enjoy editing the reports, but there's this whole piece about promoting the project, and I could promote it. Jory's ready to do ads and such on Fort Collins Public Media, but why would I do that right when we might be shrinking back to some idle point? And I don't know when state's going to say, we're ready to go, or I mean, if would we get money from? I don't even know that. I think I have to just create a plan that can coast along and have a few reports that look current. But for me to go out and start like advertising it, it's like not the right time to do that. So it's an awkward spot, and that's what I'm going to talk to Melissa about tomorrow. What would she like me to do? And can I offer final reports on what we've learned thus far? And then maybe a little addendum report further down the line, if we can get some traction with the Reporter Herald or whoever I might uncover. But, hosting these meetings with building relationship with news and everything is a little more than I can manage indefinitely, considering I'm not retired. So open to anybody's input or, questions or ideas on how we can move forward. I hate to see it go dark, because we've built something pretty neat. And maybe I can just promote to League Within and find the few volunteers who have enjoyed doing reports before. If I could get a couple reports out a week, I think it still looks like a viable product to be grown when the time comes right.
Okay, I have a question about how do you access Substack? Because I have never done that. No experience.
Okay, I will type it in the chat. It's pretty easy. And so everybody understands. I'm actually a member of medium.com, which is a very similar thing. It's just a bunch of blogs. Anybody can start a blog on like, you know, a jillion topics, and ours is on the news of Larimer County. So I'll get that into
Well, and
into
I think those newspapers, the Reporter Herald, Longmont, Berthoud, Boulder, I think, are all under Prairie Mountain Media,
Prairie. I'm saying Village. I'm sorry. Thanks for
which
correcting.
it's kind of a subgroup of the Denver Post.
Right,
So we get a lot of Denver Post stuff in our newspaper.
right,
Yeah.
yeah. And Biz West, I think they have some
Yeah,
kind of agreement with Biz West.
yeah, I think they contract with them.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I've tried to get to read a BizWeb article, I hit a paywall.
In the Reporter Herald?
I think so.
We just, well, I use the printed media most of the time, and it just carries the whole article.
Mm.
But you have a subscription, Kathy?
Yeah,
Huh,
we have digital. You know,
so do I,
instead of
yeah.
getting the paper copy,
Heard that.
Oh.
we've gotten the digital.
I do too, but I can read the Biz West articles.
So maybe it's, I don't know, is it that or Business Week? Maybe it's Business Week that I
Maybe
run into
so.
a paywall.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Business was started by people who used to work for the Reporter Herald. At least some of their names I recognize.
Okay.
And Diana, your report on Johnstown, the one we ever did, I gave that to John. He's interested in Johnstown because you did 3, there's 3 in there?
Well, once upon a time, I went to 3. Well, I went to one meeting and YouTube the others.
Uh-huh. Which is fine. I mean, and I should make, especially when you're a volunteer, if you want to sit at home and do this, because many of the meetings are available that way. But so we're hoping somebody would cover Berthoud and Johnstown. John would like that. Will he do anything with it? I don't know.
Well, what about photographs? Are they, have you tried photographs at all?
We could add photographs, but none of the observers seem really up to doing that. I'm not sure that I want to like make them up the ante to do, you know, the video was something that we were really pushing to post video, and we wanted them to timestamp it and everything. But what we've discovered is nobody wants that much information. I mean, if a journalist were using it, they could dive into the video and they could get that quote and they would have full confidence because it's right there on video. But nobody wants to do that deep dive. They're like all too busy to do it. So like, you know, why is people who are underpaid or volunteer to prep all this stuff? There's like just a moment that needs to happen. And so I have not been pressuring, like, get me more, you know, more video, more visuals, more. It's like, can we just get a basic report? In fact, when leaguers come forward, I say, it doesn't even have to be the full meeting. If you can bring me the big points, you know, just a paragraph, give me something. And then we'd be able to post that the meeting happened and who was there and when the next meeting is. You know, we have this format, and just knowing what the main topics were and when the next meeting is valuable. So
is this link that you put in, it looked when I went there like
Mhm.
I was gonna sign up for the Observer Corps.
no, you're signing up to receive to your inbox the reports that come from the observers.
Okay, thanks. Thanks for clarifying that.
Yeah.
Okay. Diane, welcome.
Thank you.
You did come back.
Yeah, I'm sorry I missed the last one, and I meant to text you and let you know that was the night that we did our debate down here for our
Yeah.
runoff election, and I completely forgot until I was standing on the stage that I should have let you know. Thank
Oh,
you.
that's okay. I'm glad you're here tonight.
Thank you.
You're in Pueblo, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So I Are we good to move on, you guys?
Mhm.
Okay. So the next thing I have on the list is I want to talk about news literacy because I just think we ought to put some focus on that now because of the election year and the disinformation. And actually Diana and Kathy Wilson had a really good idea by email. You don't remember, but I'm
No.
gonna give you credit. They had a conversation about adding news literacy tips to each, you know how something
Yeah.
always comes out on Fridays from, it's either the voter or the updates, something like that. And we could put just a little tip in there or some interesting article. Like today I got one from the News Literacy Project that's about climate change and mis and disinformation. So I thought maybe we could put a link to that in the next thing that comes out. We could do that every week. And people would get used to seeing those and maybe join some of those, like the News Literacy Project or something. It would encourage them to.
Are you
What do you-
saying at the state level or at your local level or what?
State level.
Okay.
That's why it would be disseminated to everybody,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, and I think a lot of
Every LWBCO member, as well as the emailing list, which is big because
Right.
there are a whole bunch of people that's, you know, have indicated that they want to receive those newsletters. And so it can go to more than that. I would also, and I'm assuming you would do this as put a link to the resource page.
Right.
With that, as well as, you know, the source of where the latest the latest blurb is from. Yeah.
And like the one I saw today was, like I said, it was about climate change, and we have a climate task force. I thought if we kind of focused it on, we don't have to, but it might be a good idea to focus it on the items that we have task forces studying.
Yeah, that would be, then you could pull in even more people because you'll grab their interest. I think it's a great idea.
Right. Okay.
And I think the other part that might be helpful, and you probably already have thought of this, but the idea that as we see things that you're reading in the national news and so forth, they may say X is happening, then do the next week. This is some information or disinformation about, to kind of follow up that how easy it is to get off kind of in the wrong direction with that.
Right. Okay, so what we could do is just set a day every week, like maybe by Wednesday. And if you all see something you want to put in there, or if I see something, just let me know. And then I'll send one email to Katina and she, okay? So let's
that
try to,
sounds good. Well, I think we don't want you having to do it all, so we should, we'll see it, and whatever we see, then if it looks good, we can send it to you, and then you can choose.
Right.
okay.
Isn't that what you said, Linda? I assume.
Yeah,
what
I'm
you
just
were
saying, Linda, don't do it all.
Right.
Okay. The other thing I was going to ask you guys, I am not aware of any resource to, you know how Adfontes has the media bias chart.
Mhm.
Now you can buy a subscription to Adfontes and go in there and you can plug in local news sources. And it will populate. But Margie from Chaffey County asked me if we had any resources for doing the same thing as Adfontes does. See, they can do that with Adfontes, but you have to pay for the subscription. Do you all know any other resources that I could recommend that's free? I told her about Adfontes, but you need a subscription to do the local news.
I don't know, is it covered? I don't know another one, but I know that they take out $4.99 a month for my subscription for that I've had for
Right.
years. So
I think I've seen a free one somewhere, but right now I couldn't tell you what it was.
it
Okay,
has
well,
to be a
if it comes
trusted source. That's the
Right.
problem.
Yeah, it was because I checked some of the local newspapers, like the Reporter Herald had not the Reporter Herald. I grew up with the Durango Herald, and I always thought it was a decent one, and it got a reasonable rating then. And so if I can find it, I'll let you know.
Okay, good. And then I thought on the news literacy page, when I was doing that presentation on Saturday, I thought the one thing that's kind of lacking on that page is just to show people what lateral reading is, so they don't, we've got all of these things that say, don't go down the rabbit hole, don't do that, do lateral reading, but it doesn't really tell you what lateral reading is. And it might be good to have something on that page. So I think I'll put something somewhere on that page that has a flow chart or something about lateral reading. I think that would be a good idea.
What's the idea? You're following misinformation? Is that what it is?
Yeah, well, if you read laterally, that means that instead of, we're taught to, when we critically think, we're taught to go, now, why did they say that Democrats eat babies? Well, you dig into the, isn't that what Pizzagate was? Wasn't that what they said?
Yeah, something like
And
that.
yeah, okay. So what you do is the way we were taught in school, you investigate and you dig deep and see why they say that. Well, now they say don't do that. What you do is check the sources, check the author's affiliation, because those are such ridiculous things. You're just going to go down into the rabbit hole and be exposed to more and more disinformation and get caught up in all these conspiracy theories when it's, I mean, if the headline is so ridiculous that you go, wait a minute, just go check the authors and affiliation. And so that's the point behind lateral reading, is you read across, you don't go down into the rabbit hole.
Mhm.
So, okay. Then the next thing, you guys
Linda,
have,
before you leave that, I don't know whether this, I was just real fast, looked up on my phone about rating systems and so forth. I don't know if that's what you mean. There's something called Ground, Ground News. Does anyone know about that? It says, yeah, each news monitoring organization has its own methodology, including editorial reviews, bias, and so forth. And anyway, it goes on. So I have no idea. That might be one that we might look into.
okay.
It's a rating system, so to say. I don't know.
I think we can look around and find.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's something else out there
Hmm.
that could be reliable.
Yeah. Okay, and then I received did I interrupt you? Okay.
Well, I was
I
thinking
received an
maybe
email.
something like something put out by maybe a school, like a university or something like that. The
Mhm.
School of Journalism at what, Columbia or Medill, somewhere like
Columbia,
that might have something.
Something like that. That might be a possibility.
I believe that Ad Fontes started at CU
Oh,
Oh,
years
Yeah.
ago. Yeah. So,
yeah, and she may be more likely to have Colorado news sources because she's in Colorado, so. But I don't know. But like I said, you have to have a subscription. Okay, the other thing I want to bring up is I got an email for the Uncompahgre League, and through Karen Sheik, and they wanted to have a speaker on mis and disinformation. And they wanted to have Justin McBrayer, Professor McBrayer, but of course he's unavailable, and they really want a live speaker so they can answer questions and stuff. And we've never put together a speakers bureau or asked anybody to speak other than Dr. McBrayer, and I don't really know anybody. So, do you guys, or can you think of somebody who would speak? I mean, I'm assuming we don't have, I wonder if the News Literacy Project has like a local contact or something we could look into.
That's a good
Maybe.
thought. You think CSU has anybody?
That's what I was
If you ask Martine,
Yeah, might be.
Mhm.
What's the topic?
Mis and disinformation.
I'm just wondering if like Colorado Media Project would have something, you know, what resources, what friends we have that might know of someone.
Yeah. And speaking of Martine's group, Kathy Marr attends those meetings every, what is it, Friday or every other Friday with the deliberative journalism. But she doesn't want to do it anymore. She's really busy. So if anybody is interested in the deliberative journalism project and you want to attend, I don't think it's every week. I think she said they've been meeting every other week. And it's at 1 o'clock.
Fort Collins too, right at the library or something.
Oh, it's
Well, I
on
think
Zoom.
they-
Does it on
Zoom.
On
Zoom?
Zoom now?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Well,
That's
there's
interesting.
two kinds, Diana. There's the planning for the events that happen at the library. The library is the public events, but then there's his grad students who have to know what the topic's going to be and how they're going to do it. And it's kind of at a lull. I was at the last meeting, and so I could understand why Kathy would step back. I think Martine is sort of wound this thing out. He tried for a grant, didn't get one. I'm not sure he knows what he's going to do next. And this all existed at the Coloradoan. And now his buddy Eric Larson is gone. And there's rumor that Gannett is going to pull the one op-ed page that the Coloradoan actually has right now. So there's a lot of things up in the air. And it's kind of like, you know, wake us up when when we know what we're doing. That's the vibe I had at the last meeting.
Okay, all right. Well, Kathy told me that she thought when the meetings she did attend were worthwhile, but they have wound down and they're not meeting as often. And she never drives in, you know, she doesn't live in Fort Collins, so she lives west of Loveland. She's not gonna drive into the meetings at night and stuff, so she wanted to step back. So I'll just leave that open, and if anybody finds that they pick up back up again, then maybe we want to have somebody attend the meetings. Okay.
Jory has been attending them too. I mean, she
Yeah.
attends, I think, more for the sake of Fort Collins public media.
Yeah,
But
that-
between Jory and I, it's likely we'll know kind of what's going on.
Good.
okay, and just let us know, so if somebody here on the task force wants to go, because Joy's attending, like you said, for the public access TV, so. Okay, so. Before I
Again,
leave.
Linda, this is Kay. I'm just looking real fast online. I know the University of Denver has a lot of things to do with, they have a whole media area. And I just looked up something on mis and disinformation, and there's even a podcast that comes out and so forth. So I see this professor's name. I'll give you the name. I don't know. I've never heard him. I don't know, but he might be able to put you in touch with someone. It's Kareem
Mhm.
El is another second word. And then the
Mhm.
last name is DAMANHOURY. He's in the Department of Media, Film, and so forth, and he has an ongoing podcast. And so, if someone contacted him, he might be able to give them someone. At one time, I know we worked with Seth, and those of you in media probably know him. Is it Meskus?
Yeah, Masket, Seth Masket.
And it's spelled MES. What?
No, it's MASKET.
And we've used Seth a couple times in Aurora as a speaker for mis and disinformation. And he's very good. We used him, it was a state conference for retired educators. And he did a very good job. So that would be another person that we have used, but I don't, let me see if I can find a number to get in touch with him real fast. I may have him on my phone, but go ahead with something else.
Seth
Okay.
is the I don't want to call him the chair, but that's what he is for the Center of American Democracy at DU.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if he can't do it, one of the things he has, because twice he has sent over the last 5 years, twice he's sent other people. Sometimes it's graduate students and sometimes it's other professors. If he can't talk, he'll find you someone that he recommends at the university. So that would be, I think, if they got in touch with Seth.
Okay, all right, that's good. That
Mhm.
so we have a couple of names we can at least recommend to people. Okay, anything else you guys want to bring up about newsletters? Any other ideas for promoting? Okay. Okay, I just want to tell you, I did remember I passed out that, I forwarded that email about the digital equity meeting at the library down here for the digital equity plan. And it wasn't quite what we were led to believe. We didn't make a league statement or anything, but it was interesting. Kathy Marr was there too, and they broke us up into little groups and asked us different questions, our opinions about different parts of their digital equity plan, because they're trying to do a whole bunch of outreach to make sure that everybody who needs help with digital, access gets it. You know, older people and kids in school and non-English speakers, all that stuff. So it was kind of interesting, but nothing really happened league related. I was glad I went, but just wanted to let you know. And then the other thing I sent out was from Pyrie Jensen through Karen Sheik, and it was about reaching young voters. I can't remember the name of it, but she walked us through a slide presentation that she's putting together to encourage young people in high school to be sure to register to vote and go out and vote. And there were a couple of pages that were about, she had the Adventist media bias chart on there and talking about mis and disinformation. So I gave her a couple of ideas, and I think she's going to tighten up the presentation, and then we'll probably hear back from her again just to run it by us. But it was a large project, and I think she's really enthusiastic. She's going to go around to the schools and present it to the kids.
I think it originated in New Jersey, I want to say.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think
And
yeah.
it's a 7 module. It's big. What they developed is good. It's very good. And it's very big. And so they're trying to get it pared way down. Because to ask teachers to to present all of the information is just too much. It's, you know, you start getting involved with the state standards and things like that. So yeah, so they're trying. It was very successful in the 2 counties that they were able to get it implemented, and the material can go. They're really trying to get students who can vote. Okay, that's who their main audience is. So it's later high school and community and the college level, higher ed. And where in the counties where they implemented it, the young voter numbers for who actually voted that year just went way up. Because they got these kids really interested in it, these young people really interested in voting, and gave them reasons why they should. Because one set of slides in there had to do with myths about, you know, my vote doesn't count and blah blah blah, and it responded to each one of those and made sense. So they were having students tell other, you know, tell their friends about it. and getting them to vote as well. So it's a successful program.
Yeah.
What
Yep.
was it called?
Oh, it's in your notes that you sent out.
I think it's called, yeah, I think it's called Engaging Young Voters.
I think so. It's something to that effect. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, is there anything about legislation, Kathy? You wanna have
Nothing,
anything?
nothing additional. Just that the content materials and libraries, Senate Bill 049, that's going to have its first hearing in the Senate Committee, Education Committee on Monday, January 29th, so next Monday. Before that, at noon, there's going to be a rally on the west steps of the Capitol. If you can get there, they'll be holding banned books and banners and things like that to promote the bill. And if you saw any of the photos in the press today about the demonstration for the right to abortion, that campaign started yesterday, and that hit the media today with the pictures. It's going to be something similar to that. So if you know anybody in Denver who is interested in that topic, invite them to go down. Anybody can go down to that. That bill concentrates mainly on public school library. So it's public charter and institute charter school library, and that is the bulk of the text of the bill. At the very end, they plug in a little bit about public libraries, because really right now they're in statute, there are regulations about what public libraries can and cannot do. But this protects more school libraries, and it's individual liberty issue. It's a JEDI issue. It's, it covers a lot of things. So we think it's an important bill, and the league is fully supporting it. So.
Okay, so the next thing I had was, I think last time I mentioned that the League of
I'm
Women.
sorry, I keep running back because I'm thinking of things as you're bringing it up. Back on the energizing youth vote, why were we talking about that tonight? I just was trying to figure out what we were trying to get out of that.
Because we were invited to attend the meeting to preview her slide presentation. Karen Sheik had invited the News Access and Literacy Task Force, and I did go, and I made a couple of comments about the news literacy component of it. Bye, Sonia. And so, oh yeah, she's gone.
Well, just so some of you might want to be aware, because a few years ago, one of my other arms that I work with is Girl Scouts. One of the Girl Scouts that I worked with developed a program with Adams County and getting high school students to vote. They even use the election equipment and so forth to get kids into the high school, and they voted on a high school issue. It was like class officers or something, so they could understand how to use the equipment and so forth. And that I know is available through Adams County if you're looking for other things that are a little different and it really did engage kids. I mean, it really did, because they used what they would use as an adult, so they understood a lot more about it. So anyway,
just so you know, too, in Larimer, the voter services group has been connected with Girl Scouts, and I want to say in Ohio, with a program, and I think that Larimer is going ahead with that soon, because they've been asking for volunteers to go into the schools.
I have a question. How long are these programs? Do you have any idea? I mean, are we talking several classes or one class period, or know anything about that?
I want to say the one that that Larimer has looked into is like a day on the weekend. It's like a Saturday.
Yeah,
Oh.
and that one's from Ohio because one of we looked at it as Girl Scouts of Colorado in general, and that's a real good one-time event, which really sparks a lot of interest, and it's done on a Saturday, so it doesn't affect the school, it doesn't take kids away from other things, and so it's called Voter Girl.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the other one, the Adams County one, is a little longer because they go through a process. And I'm in my mind thinking something like 4 different kinds of presentations or something that are done. You know, it's sort of like this is just in my mind, kind of trying to remember. It was like a beginning with, you know, the what are all the things involved in the voting process? You have to be registered, blah, blah, blah. And then they took an issue and then they talked about the issue and campaigned on it. And then they voted on the issue. And so it was over about 4 days, but that was in a one high school at a certain period. So over a 4-day period. So anyway,
Okay.
but it was over weeks. But anyway, those are the 2 that I know.
And it was called what? The one that you're talking about?
The Adams County one, and I'm trying to think what the final, I'm just looking here online and it says VOTE is the VOTE project, VOTE,
Okay.
voter outreach through education.
Okay, and it's Adams County.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
And they worked with Brighton High School to do it.
Thank you very much.
Okay. And the other one is, I think, I'm not sure, Kathy, you may be right. It was Ohio or somewhere, but it is called Voter Girl.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anyway, okay. I seem to be a little behind trying to get names of things in my mind. So,
And the first one that Linda was talking about that Perry did the presentation for, the couple actually, in addition to going, you know, the suggestion of getting into classrooms, they also talked about clubs, student clubs, and having these presentations there as well to begin with.
Because it is hard to get into the schools.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
That's
The
right.
schools are not real happy to see additional things being offered to them. You'd think they would
and
be.
when I was working with the Girl Scouts, we kind of focused on if there was a political, I guess a political committee or not committee, a school club, or if there was an advanced something or another club, we tried to do it through those. So it was not, as you're saying, Diane, to get people take another thing into
They
schools.
Yeah, thank you.
And those seem to work better than any. You're exactly right.
Well, you know,
You
one
have
of the things
self-selected.
in rural Colorado is not Girl Scouts, it's 4-H. And that is where I learned my citizenship.
Oh,
I went on the citizenship short course they took us to Washington, D.C. on a bus. And
Oh.
we got to meet the congressman and all that sort of thing. So I think 4-H still should be a good source. And it isn't school, it's through the extension service.
okay, so that would be a reach out to also.
I
You know,
think so.
have any of you used the league curriculum? There is a league curriculum, which is quite good also. I've used it a couple of times here in Pueblo when we've been asked to come into the schools, and these are newer, I suspect, the ones you're talking about, and perhaps a little more hands-on than the original league one. But there's that also, and that's about an hour-long presentation. Anyway, thank you for the input, you guys.
And one of the groups with the Energizing Young Voters that we suggested was voter services, because a lot of the local leagues voter services have the connections to teachers and curriculum specialists in the schools already that they can tap into.
Have the contact.
Yeah.
Kind of how ours work here.
Right. Okay, well, I think Perry's presentation will be back, and when I get information about it, I'll let you know. So if you all want to see her, because I think she's tightening it up, so it'll be. And I thought they talked about different modules to it and stuff, but
Yeah.
maybe,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah,
it's
with like 7.
mhm,
Right, there are 7 modules
Mhm.
altogether.
It could go on forever if you
Yeah.
wanted to, but the
Right.
school's gonna want it that way. And I think she was trying to tighten it down to like about a class period, wasn't
Yes.
she?
yeah, I
Yes.
think so. I think so.
But she's very enthusiastic and very much wants to present this to as many people in the league as possible.
Right, and to get
Um,
it, her whole point is to get these kids to vote, to
Right.
be enthusiastic about voters, energizing young voters.
So it's
The
like a mission.
the one from Girl Scouts is from Western Ohio. It is called Voter Girl, and it is with their League of Women Voters.
Yeah, yes.
Mhm.
And if you want to find out more about that, Linda Thomas in the Larimer League is the person to contact. Okay, because she has been very closely in contact with that group in Ohio.
Great, thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, so and then the last thing is you remember last time I mentioned that the League of Women Voters of Washington had contacted, oh, what's that guy? Steve Waldman's group, Rebuild Local News or something like that, and they had offered them some money to attend the convention, and so she introduced Beth and me to them, thinking that maybe we could get money if we want to go to the convention, but I haven't heard back. I just thought I'd report. I have not heard back. So I don't know where that will end up. And then the one other thing, I don't know what to do with this, but I think it has some potential. I just can't, I'm trying to figure it out. You know, at program planning last night, one of our members mentioned that the healthcare team is, there's going to be a measure okay, Linda Mahan contacted me because she heard something on NPR about hedge funds taking over newspapers. And apparently hedge funds, I mean, they're taking over everything. They're taking over housing, they're taking over hospitals and hospices, and that's her baby, is the healthcare. So they're working on something on privatization. That's their angle for the equity firms to get out of this stuff. I don't know if that would work, but you know, I always wondered why we didn't have a position somewhere about it that we could apply to hedge funds taking over newspapers, but I could never find anything. And this is what the healthcare team is doing. They're doing it through the privatization position.
And that's US. And
Yeah.
that's US.
Mhm.
Okay.
Right. They're trying to get the position updated to include something about deprivatization.
Uh-huh.
So anyway, do you think, I mean, I don't think hedge funds should be buying up newspapers, but I think it's already been done. I mean, I don't know if you can
Yeah.
I don't know if you're going to be able to reverse it. So I guess maybe we just need to keep our eyes peeled and see what happens maybe with this attempt, because I really I don't understand how they're approaching it at all.
Yeah, it was the LWVUS's
Mhm.
recommendation that they go through the positions on privatization, but the US League has never approached it as deprivatization. So that would be a really new perspective to use the position.
Right. So anyway, she sent me all this information about after hours and going and asking somebody at the national, the after hours that LWUS offers. But I don't know. I think I have to think about it because I'm not exactly sure what I would say. Except for they're buying all the newspapers and what can we do? I'm not sure. I'm not sure my brain is wrapped around this very well. But I thought I'd bring it up in case your brains could figure something out. So with that, you guys, I think I've got everything on our agenda we've talked about, and don't expect much as far as minutes go because Kathy Marr wasn't here and she always takes really good minutes, and I'm not very good. You should see my paper here. So
Oh.
we'll see.
Send her the recording.
Yeah. No, I won't be that mean. We'll just have light minutes for this meeting. How's that?
That works.
That
All right,
sounds
so the
fine.
next meeting is, when is the next meeting? February sometime. Or
Is it
this,
the 4th,
is it,
It's the 27th.
27th? Mhm.
27th, okay, February 27th
Mhm.
at 4:30. Okay?
Mhm.
All right, you guys, have a good month. Boy, it
You-
seems like this has been a
Bye.
light meeting compared to all our concurrence meetings. It seems like all we did was blah, 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 and this is kind of slow. For a change, it's kind of nice. Okay, bye.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you
Bye-bye.
for
Thank you.
being. Thank you.